I don't think anybody would argue me when I say AFC North battles in primetime just hit different. It doesn't matter how good or bad the team is, and it doesn't matter if Joe Flacco is at the helm in Cincinnati. Do you guys remember last year, Jameis Winston, the famous snow game, snapping a Pittsburgh Steelers 5-game winning streak? Yeah, man, Thursday night football on a bad Browns team that just happened to upset a much better Pittsburgh Steelers team. I'm telling you, sometimes it just doesn't matter. And that's why Thursday night football in the AFC North is a blast. Anyway, I'm Dave Loughran. Welcome to the video. As always, appreciate you guys supporting it. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. It's all free. And I'll have a couple things that I'd like to get your thoughts on in the comments below, but let's dive into it. At home, the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. 5.5-point dogs here. Now, we're going to have to wait and see Trey Hendrickson's status leading up to kickoff. But you know what? Look, he's not ruled out yet. The line hasn't budged all week long. Not to say, one defensive player is going to move it much, if any at all. But it hasn't budged all week, I should say. You already know what I like to do in these spots, right? Home 5.5-point divisional dog on a short week. I got to go Cincinnati here, but we'll talk a little bit more about this. And then I got something very fun for you guys coming up at the end of this video. We're going to switch things up a little bit and have some fun with that. As always, you can find all of my same game parlays, all of my bets for free over on tails.bet, or use the link in the description. You never pay a cent, nothing. You come in, you identify the spots you want, you tail them, one click with the AI mapping. It's awesome. We just added an algorithm too, where all of the best posts go to the top in your Explore feed. We have a leaderboard so you can figure out who to follow. Think of it like this. You go on Twitter, you accidentally engage with something dumb, and now your For You feed is covered in that for months. Not on Tails. It's straight sports betting stuff, and it's all free. And all of my picks are free all year. And we've hit some bangers so far. I got 3 same-game parlays for you on tap coming up there later today, utilizing the boosts on Bet365, FanDuel, and on DraftKings. So make sure to hang around. But I got something fun for you at the end of this one too. But anyway, look, you guys can let me know down below if you like the Steelers here. Certainly wouldn't blame you. They're sizable road favorites in an AFC North battle, which these games can go in either direction. We see it all the time. It's just a big number for me. And, I thought Flacco acquitted himself relatively well last time out. I mean, it was a difficult matchup against the Packers in Lambeau Field, especially considering he wasn't with the team for more than 5 days before Zach Taylor's like, hey, pal, things aren't going great for Jake Browning, and Joe Burrow is not coming back anytime soon. You're our guy on Sunday in Lambeau as a 14.5-point dog. Crazy stuff in this league. That's what makes football so damn fun. But, when you have the best receiver in football, yeah, I do. I think it's Jamar Chase. You could say Jefferson. You could name a bunch of guys. I Puka Nacua. I get it, and I wouldn't blame you for it. I see Jamar Chase making these one-handed grabs at the pylons on poorly thrown balls and then ripping off like 70-yard after the catch grabs down the sideline. He's just next level freakish. When you've got guys like him, and then you got T. Higgins on the other side, like you can just make things happen even if you have a dinosaur at quarterback. Joe Flacco admitted as much during a press conference. They were like, the media asked him, hey, if Jamar Chase came up and said, I'm going to run my own routes, I'm going to do my own things. Joe Flacco was like, yeah, I'd probably say, and I'm paraphrasing, whatever you want, bud, like, let's do it. And that's kind of how you have to operate if you're Joe Flacco and you've got somebody like that, the privilege of having somebody like that to throw to. But I think Flacco simply understands the assignment. Do you guys not? Like, I think he understands it. Get those guys the ball. Focus on Jamar Chase, focus on Higgins, throw it up anywhere. Who cares? Just put it in the vicinity and see if they can come down with it. And I think that was one of the issues that we saw with Browning. He just couldn't get the ball out. But look, the Steelers are unquestionably the better team. I'm not going to deny that. Their defense is finally healthy, whereas in the early parts of the season, they weren't. But I'll take the 5.5-point divisional home dog on a short week. Typically, these spots, historically, I should say, have lined up nicely for them. That's all there is to it for me. Now, guys, tell me not only if you're on the Steelers or on the Bengals. I don't care if you disagree with me or not, or agree with me. It doesn't matter. I want to know why you're on these certain sides, right? Put your money where your mouth is before these games kick off, because it's a whole lot more fun that way. All right, let's get ourselves into a little bit of fun here. As I mentioned, all the same game parlays that I'll have for today, we're going to boost them. We got a 50%, a 30%, and another 30% on DraftKings, FanDuel, and Bet365. They'll be on tails. If you're not following me there yet, make sure to do so. And of course, if you're not on Bet365 yet, link is in the description. $200 in bonus bets when you deposit 10 and bet 5. Literally the easiest $200 you've ever had in your life. And use it for these promos and these SGPs. 21 years or older to gamble. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. However, I want to get to a spot because FanDuel has the $2 million jackpot today. And this is a really fun promo, and we should be betting on these because I was already going to bet. Actually, I'll put it on the screen. I already bet this touchdown prop today over on FanDuel. Basically, it's $2 million split. You bet an anytime touchdown. If your guy scores the first or the last touchdown, you get a share of that. If he scores both the first and the last, then you get a share of all of the $2 million, right? It's an awesome promo and it's a fun sweat. And we're going to bet these touchdowns anyway. So where do we go? We go to Darnell Washington. You guys remember last year, I was all over this. I talked about him constantly and I'm like, why won't they use Darnell Washington? He's a freak. Look, I'm going to show you something that'll blow your minds. All right. He's 6'7", 270 pounds. Look how small the football is in his hands, catching this ball in the end zone. Look at the size of the football. That's a regulation size football in Darnell Washington's hands. And it looks like something you would see the 7U teams playing with in flag. It is outrageous, man. This guy is a monster, but he's also an athlete. He's a freak. And he's running the second most routes for the Steelers over the last 2 weeks. You heard that right. Only behind DK Metcalf. You have no Calvin Austin today. Pat Freiermuth's role is diminishing because they brought in Jonnu Smith and they like to use Darnell Washington to block as well, but he's also running routes, right? He's playing 85% of snaps over the last 2 games. I get excited about these spots. I'm not saying he's going to hit. Like, he still has to score a touchdown, right? And that's not easy. Right? Even DK Metcalf or Jamar Chase today are probably going to be slight dogs, if not, Metcalf more than a slight dog to score a touchdown. It's just the way it goes. But at plus 360, I like this. I was betting him a lot last year at like 10-1. We never got there, but the opportunities were there. And the guy is simply good. Like, he's a good football player. He's a legitimate X factor in this offense. And it's just a fun sweat for us tonight, right? You don't have to put a lot down on this if you don't want to. I probably wouldn't recommend it. But you get him in the $2 million jackpot with an additional sweat there, and he's not going to be nearly as popular. You kind of want to play this contrarian. He's not going to be nearly as popular as Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, any of those guys. So if we were to hit on the first or last touchdown, our share of the prize pool is going to be much, much bigger. But this guy can break tackles. He's a big body in the end zone. Yards after the catch are legitimately real here. So I like it. I also like Darnell Washington over 22.5 receiving yards on BetMGM. We have that as a positive EV play right now in our EV tools. So let's go with that. Like I said, I'll post all of my parlays over on Tails today throughout the day. Turn notifications on, follow me for free, and all those other great people over there. Until next time, I'll see you guys back here soon. And remember, my picks for every game video came out on Tuesday, every Tuesday. That is up too if you're looking to get in on the action and get some early bets in for Sunday. Appreciate you guys hanging out as always, and we'll see you back here for the next one. Bye-bye.